Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Welcome to this creative tutorial where we breathe new life into a forgotten book and transform it into one-of-a-kind handmade journal, or at least get it ready for one. So in this context, harvesting a book refers to gathering its most precious elements to create something truly special and one-of-a-kind, much like harvesting crops means gathering the best produce from the field. And since each book is different, I'm not entirely sure where this will take me, so I'm excited to see and find out. And I really hope you'll join me on this little adventure. Okay, let's begin. So first things first, let me just say, before I get into anything, that books like this, that are highlighted, that are marked, and that have some writing, that are old, like this book is from, looks like it was written in 1965, but this edition is from 2010, so it's not that old, but it doesn't matter. The fact that it's highlighted and marked means that if you donate it, it's gonna go straight to the bin. In fact, that's where I got it from. I got it from the discard pile at the thrift store, so I don't feel bad for what I'm about to do to this book, which is I'm gonna completely dismember it. Oh goodness, that sounds awful, doesn't it? The other word is even worse. You know the one. I'm gonna gut this book. Okay, but before I start gutting the book, I just want to share a few things that I look for in books when I'm looking in thrift store. If you have a look at this book, you can see that the condition of it is almost pristine. Look at this beautiful cover. I can see some little scuff marks there, and the back, everything is perfect. So I love finding these kinds of books, and usually, you know, they are preserved because they have this beautiful jacket covering them. So this is an absolute perfection for me to use in a journal or as a journal cover, which this is what it's eventually going to be. Okay, and now instead of removing the whole text block, I'm going to try and remove the pages, because I can see over here that these pages are stitched. So I'm just going to go to any middle of a signature. So here's a quick little lesson just so you know the difference. If you look at this book, up the top, there's no like that curved signature telltale signs. You'll see what I mean in a moment. And you can see a line of glue at the very top. So for this book is not stitched, it's glued. So that's, all the pages are held together with glue. Now for books that are stitched, I don't know how well you can see this, but I can't get any closer because my camera won't work. You can see that little U up the top, like an upside down U up the top. And then when you find the middle of the U, all right, let's go in here. I think I got it. Did I get it? Yes, I did. And you open it to the middle, you can see the stitches. Okay, you probably know this, but if you don't, there we have a little mini lesson. And for books like these, I like to remove the whole pages, like the whole page. You'll see what I mean. So I'm going to go under the stitches, break them open. I'm sure there's now book lovers out there cringing that this is happening, but it's happening nevertheless. Before you write any comments, just Google how many books are discarded just by your local library. That's one library, okay? And just have a look at that statistic. Okay, now I'm removing the whole page, the whole, things, because this can be part of my signature. And I like to keep them intact because I can make all sorts of stuff. I can make pockets and pages for journals, and I don't know, that's the thing, like I don't know what I'm going to make, so I might as well keep them intact. And now I'm going to repeat this process for all the pages. Okay, so once you remove about 3 or 4 or 5, sometimes in this case it's only 3, you will get to the very last page in that signature, and that page or pages are actually glued to the one next to it, so it's not going to be easy to remove. And then when you do try to remove, you'll find that it might stay whole or it might rip. This one actually stayed whole. Sometimes they'll just rip right there. Okay, moving on to the next signature. So it will be the same for this signature as well. We've got page 1 and 2 and 3 that are easy to come out. and then this one is glued. So I kind of unglue a little bit, and then here we go. See what I mean? How that one just... All right, so I'll make a different pile for these. The ones that are broken, they get their own pile. So you know what might be a good idea? If you go to your local op shop or thrift store and you get to know the ladies, you have a little chat with them. It's probably not going to work for a large corporation like Salvation Army and Savers and all of that. I'm talking more independent little op shops, okay? And if you go there and you tell them, you know, do you throw out any books? They're going to say yes, because all op shops throw out books all the time. You might want to ask them to keep some for you on the side that you can come and pick them up, especially hardcover books, because most of those ladies working there, they don't like the fact that they have to throw things out either. But there simply is no space. Space is an issue for all the donations that they get. I personally think every little op shop should have like a free pile at the front. I don't know why they don't do it. My local op shop does it. I think it's great. And then whatever is not taken from that pile in the, I don't know how many days, then it actually is sent to the landfill. But at least those items have a chance. And I actually picked out a lot of books, including this one, from that pile. And what I'm doing here, this is probably what I would refer to as dismembering a book rather than gutting the book, because I didn't remove the whole text block. If I had a book like this, which is what I've shown you before, and there's nothing for me to really use here, just book pages and writing, there's no beautiful like images and things like that. All I needed was a cover, let's say, then I would go ahead and I would just gut the book. So I would cut along here, remove the text block, which of course I'll use in other ways, and I've got my cover. But for this, I'm doing it there. I could do it for this as well, but this is just the way that I'm choosing to go about it. There's a method to this madness. You just have to trust the process. By the way, I'm just sitting here thinking, I probably should issue a disclaimer that when I said dismembering a book, that's not an actual term that's used, and perhaps it shouldn't be. I don't know why I said dismembering, but let's just say removing the pages. Okay, here's where I'm at, and I am now deciding that I am going to keep this first page intact, this end page rather, I think that's the correct name. And then this one, they're glued together, so I'm going to be very gentle here and unglue. Perfect. And I'm gonna remove this last little bit. And now same at the back. I'm keeping the end page. So I want to gently unglue, because I don't want to rip through this end page. And if it did rip through, well then I'll just remove the whole thing. You know, it's no big deal. Excellent. So at this point, I'm left with the cover that has the end pages intact. I have the book jacket. We're going to keep that. I have a pile of pages, folded pages that can go into signatures. And I also have a pile of these ripped pages. So 4 piles. We're going to start working on this one first. So perhaps first thing I want to do is separate the white space pages onto one pile, and then these can go onto this pile. And of course, images that I want to use, they're going to have a separate pile. So you may have heard me in the past say that I use every single last little bit of a book, and I wasn't joking, and now you're gonna see how I used pretty much everything. All right, so this is the pile that had the pages that I'm not gonna use. So images like these, I don't use them, like modern, almost modern images, you know, like real life people. These book pages, I'll show you where they go. So this is right in front of my filming. Here I am filming, and here's where these book pages are gonna go. The ones that I'm not gonna use any photographs or anything like that, they slide in here, and I'll show you what I use them for. By the way, the book pages that I just slid in there, I'm gonna show you what I use them for, but I don't put all the book pages in there, only glossy or slightly glossy paper, like for example, brochures or magazines. See how it's glossy? Yes, I wouldn't use non-glossy paper for what I'm about to show you. Okay, so I showed you where they live, and basically this is what I use them for. So I'll grab 2 or 3 usually. And okay, so now I have a new cutter. You may have seen me do this before. I apologize if you haven't, I'm repeating myself, but this is my blunt cutter that I've been using for the past 6 years. It's completely blunt, and I'll show you what I mean. Blunt cutter cuts like this, which I recently realized that I actually don't mind that at all. But if I wanted to have a crisp cut, then I put some pages underneath. I don't need 3, 2 is enough. And then I cut. And look at the difference just by putting something underneath. Now I'm not going to waste pretty like good paper or white paper that I can write on. Does that make sense? So that's what I use this for. Yeah, perfect. And I just keep going down until I get to the end. All right, and then this is going into the recycling. I feel like it's still being used. Does that make sense? Blank pages, I will either have them on my desk, you know, just to write on. I don't know what this is from my daughters. Oh, goodness. But they all have kind of blank on the back. So it will either be used for note writing, or if it's good quality paper like this, I'm going to tea dye it. And then I have a folder here for that kind of stuff. This, you might feel like this is going overboard. It's not. For me, it's not going overboard. So here's an example of, this was actually a cover of a book that I tea dyed, and it's living here. And then I have always something that I can use, like old calendar. When we eventually get to the images, when I'm making them into journaling spots, I like to use this type of thing to back the images onto. We'll get to that. Listen, everyone makes their own, you know, you might not agree with everything I'm doing here. It doesn't matter. You know, you make your own little system that works for you. I have this folder on my desk, same place as where I showed you that I slide those things before. And here I put papers in that I think and feel like they are good for collage. So whenever I'm doing a little bit of collage or I need a little bit of something, I can go in here. And I find that pages like these, they look like this type of writing. I don't know, I like it. I think that looks good for collage paper. So this is gonna go in here, and I know that I have a whole bunch more, but I can't remember where I put them. Could be in this pile. All right, so anyway, this is how I harvest a book. So, I mean, you might wanna just chuck half the pages out into the recycling bin, totally up to you. Oh, and by the way, I cannot believe this. I only recently found this out. I don't know, did you know this? If you, let's say, want to get rid of this book and you put it into the recycling bin, you are doing the wrong thing. Yes, you are, because books cannot be recycled, especially books that have the glue. The glue gums up the machines, and you know, books that have like leather covering and that kind of stuff. I had no idea. So I feel like gutting a book, removing the pages and stuff, give it more chance of actually being recycled. So I don't know if that's important to you, but that's kind of thing I think about at night. What's wrong with me? Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to quickly go through this pile, and I might, for example, I'm not going to do it now, don't worry. You don't have to watch me cut things out, but I might start cutting out the images that I like. I have to say, a little bit reluctant about using images such as these. So this, for example, is William Dampier, an English pirate, doesn't matter. Anyway, like when I cut this, and I usually do, I just leave the image and not the description or the writing underneath. When I come back to it, I have no idea who these dude is. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, you see. So that's why I'm reluctant, because I have a whole folder with these kinds of pictures that I cut out, and I'm like, who is that? and should I be using it in a journal kind of thing. But nevertheless, I look at images like this one is an unsettling image. I'm not gonna make this into a journaling card, but I might use it in my collage, right? So for example, when I cut it up like this, that's perfectly fine to use in collage. Okay, so that might go into my collage folder. This photo is also good for collage. So for this kind of thing, I probably should know my history a little bit better. So I don't. Okay, so this dude, a commander-in-chief of the British Army during the war, he may have committed some atrocities that I don't know about because I'm not educated in them. So will I be putting this into a journal? Probably not, unless I know, you know, who he is. So this kind of thing, perhaps it's gonna go into the cut pile, the pile that helps me cut. Okay, that's kind of how I go about that. I'm not going to cut all of these pictures out because that will take time, and you know, this is something you could do in front of the TV. Large images like this, I like to use them as a writing board, so I might laminate this, you know, back it onto some scrapbook paper, for example, and laminate it, and then it can be, in fact, you know, it's the perfect size for this book to be a writing board. And basically a writing board is just a piece of thick something that you can put underneath your pages, because your journal is chunky and full of cool stuff, okay, but the pages are bumpy, and then you put your writing board there and you can write. Okay, so that will be my writing board. These will be images I'm gonna come back to, and I love this kind of stuff, and I love black and white images in collage especially, and making journaling spots, like I said, to tuck into pockets and things in journals. There's just so much goodness here that I can use, so I will have to continue that on another day. And these images will all be backed onto, actually I'm going to do one now just for demonstration purposes. Let's do, I like this one. It's a little bit unevenly cut, you see, so perfect opportunity to use up some pages over here. Okay, that's better. We can pretend that this is already tea dyed. I do have plenty I want up behind me, but I'm just gonna use this one because, you know, I have it. So by the way, when I was cutting the pictures, some of these larger pieces I keep, and then I use them like this when I need to protect my desk. When I'm applying glue, I have a special place for these, all within arm's reach. The thing is, I think depending on what type of an organizer or personality or whatever you are, this extent of organization that I have might seem like heaven to you, and to others it's like a total turn off. The thing is, we're all different, so whatever works for you and whatever makes you productive is what matters. So this is just, you know, I have a use for pretty much everything, which is both a blessing and a curse. I prefer to tea dye this first and then use it as backing, because then when it's tea dyed you can't actually see the writing, whereas when it's like white you can. So I'm actually going to take this to my sewing machine now to sew around because I like that look. And usually I would just use the glue stick only like a little bit in the middle to hold it down while I'm sewing, but I was too lost in thoughts that I ended up using the glue stick and the glue, and now I'm gonna sew. That's totally going overboard and really not needed. I don't know why I did that. And of course this leftover is gonna go into my notes section right there, so I can write notes on it, you see. And here it is, journaling spot, ready to go inside a journal. Quite nice, and especially if this is gonna end up inside the journal, I can make, I mean, this could be like my theme or whatever. Okay, so you know, like when you go on Instagram and then you see people going on holidays and, I don't know, having perfect relationships and everything is just amazing in their life, and the logical you knows that that can't be right. Everyone's got crap-a-doodle things happening in their life, but they are only showing you the most positive things, okay? It's pretty much the same here. All right, so Even though I say I'm going to cut out all the pictures and then I'm going to back them all onto this tea dyed paper that I'm going to tea dye, I will do that. I will most definitely do that. But when we have no idea, it could be in 5 years' time. Which is why I have specially designated places for book images. And I know I started this project today. I might finish it in 7 months' time, and by then I'll forget that I want this to be my writing board. So I might write myself notes. This is going to be my writing board. I'm going to put this in with the book images, and even better, I'm going to put the sticky note inside, because we know that sticky note is gonna fly off, man. Okay, next thing we're going to deal with are these pages that are intact, and now I'm going to go through and decide which pages do I actually want to keep so that I can use them in a journal. So this one is a definite no, in which case I'm gonna do this, and this can go into the images. I love this, and I'm most definitely going to keep this. It's going to be a page in a journal. All right, so this here is horrendous imagery. We don't want that in a journal, but this, I love this. So these are going to be cut out, fussy cut out. In fact, I absolutely love images like this. So that's gonna go, of course, into the image section. Perfect. So I prepare my things like this, and then when I'm watching TV, which once again, this is the Instagram thing again, because I literally never watch TV, and when I do, I don't want to be doing this, but this is something that people do in front of the TV, and they're gonna go and fussy cut. I do it at my desk. I could be listening to music, and I might set myself a timer for 15 minutes to fussy cut. So you do whatever works for you. This can be a cool little collage element. I don't mind this one in the pictures, this one for the gluing. Oh wow, look at this. I love, 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 love this image. Okay, these are the ones that are good for collage, and these kinds of things like the index. I love how that looks in collages. These kinds of images are almost like the vintage photographs that a lot of us love to have and use in like vintage journals. And I don't mind using images like this where I know that it's not some notorious genocidal maniac, okay? So, keeping that one. Any of these modern pages or photographs, I'm not interested in, and that's going straight into the help me cut section. Oh, look at this. There's some amazing, amazing stuff that I'm finding. Let's see. Help me cut. That one. Also help me cut. I don't want anything like that in my journals. We shall keep these for images. All right, I'm done sorting. This is collage. These are the only pages that I'm going to keep for a journal. Very carefully selected. What makes them stand out from the others? Let's see. This one I was thinking I like the fact that it's all writing. I can make this into a pocket like this. And I like the all writing thing. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to keep a few for the journal. So we're keeping these. This one, I actually wouldn't mind making that also into a writing board for a larger journal. So that's going to go in here. Now, these are all images that I want to cut out and use in my journal. It's gonna go into this sleeve. Life is so much easier when you write yourself notes, because you come back to abandoned projects, you have no idea what the plan was, but when you have notes, it makes it much easier. These book pages, I have decided I can make these into loaded pockets. For example, let's say I know I want to use this as a loaded pocket, all right? So I'm gonna make one right away. I'm pretty sure I have a tutorial on loaded pockets. Just trust the process. Everything will make perfect sense in a moment. All right, so I have one intact page. Then I'm going to pop like a shorter page. You see that I folded it down because I want the image at the top. And then the shortest page, you can have, this one's just folded in half. You can have like another page. So this will give me 1, 2, 3 pockets, one very large one at the back. And now what I'm going to do is hold it in place, take it to my sewing machine, and sew down here, bottom, and here. And I'm going to stay away from the edge because I'm going to be trimming that edge off. Okay, I'll be right back. Because I have decided with those pages, and I have a pile of the pages, I decided these are going to be my pocket pages. They're going to be my loaded pocket pages. Perhaps I don't need them to be this large. I can always chop them down, make them smaller or whatnot. So since I have decided that, oftentimes what I will do when I'm harvesting a book, see how I keep using that word, I will make myself a prototype. This is a prototype. The next one I make is going to be better, and the third one I make is going to be glorious. So I like to make myself a prototype and file it together with the material. So I know when I come back to this, whenever I come back to it, I'll know what the plan was. All right, but in this case, I want to keep this for my journal over here that's hopefully going to be turned into a journal. So for now, these pages, they are for loaded pockets. And the reason why I call them loaded pockets is because they eventually are loaded with a whole bunch of stuff. I think I was selling them in packs, loaded pockets, and they had all this stuff. Okay, that's done. I have now officially harvested the book, and let's see what we have. Loaded pockets. This is going to go into my unfinished project bin. Book images, I have a special place for this. Writing board, I'm going to use it in the journal that I'm going to make. Collage, that goes over here. Within reach, we're going to do something with this maybe. Signature pages, I might keep 3 for this book today, and the rest are going to go into this bin that I have of pages ready to go into signatures. So that's going to go over here. These are going into the book today. The loaded pocket probably going to go into this book. This is probably going to go into this book. And now I have the cover. Okay, let's do this. First thing I'm going to do is remove this middle part. That can go into the bin. And now this spine is, bendable like this. We're going to make it a non-bendable spine. I'm going to take a piece of this very thick cardboard. Perhaps it doesn't have to be this thick. Maybe I can remove a layer or 2. And now I'm going to cut it to size to fit right inside here. First, I need the exact height of the journal. So give myself a little mark here. And now the width of the spine. I'm going to make it smaller than what it actually is. Excellent. And now to cutting. All right, let's see. It needs to be a tiny little bit more narrow. See how it's like perfect fit? We want it slightly narrower. Ideally, I'd like to get this right the first time, but nevertheless, back to the cutting board. You know how they say measure twice, cut once? Well, what can I say? Take 2. Much better. Oh, perfection actually. I'm gonna grab, you see that little piece the little pieces that I put aside for when I'm needing to glue stuff down or to color things like this. I'm just coloring the top and bottom. I thought this gold might look nice, but probably could have gone with blue to go with the cover. It doesn't really matter, this will barely be visible. All right, now this needs to be glued in here. First, I'm going to pop down some double-sided tape. This will be my helper in keeping it kind of glued down while the glue is drying, but I'm not relying on it to keep the spine piece in place. It's simply a helper. Now, saturate this with glue. And And finally, glue it down. Really pressing down to make sure it's completely glued. At this point, here are some options. You could cover this with a piece of fabric, or just washi tape will do. And then you could perhaps fold this page down, and that gives you a front pocket. I might even do that. Actually, I don't mind that idea at all. I actually like that idea, so I'm gonna go with that. Should we use fabric or should we use washi tape? What does one want to do at this point? One cannot make a decision right now. I'm gonna do washi tape just so we can speed this up. I'm not a huge fan, I have to say, of the washi tape, because when you put it down, whatever it is that you're using to hide the ugliness, you have to kind of get it into the groove, and oftentimes washi tape is going to tear. Okay, that's why I usually go with fabric, but today is washi tape kind of day, so washi tape it's gonna be. Maybe I can do 2 layers of washi tape. I'm kind of gluing it on only in the middle for now, and I need precision over here. Why? Because I seem to like placing unrealistic expectations on myself. Here we go. And now we're gonna go into the groove. Boy, you gotta prove. Okay, we've covered. We are covered. This can be it. This can be part of your journal, or my plan was this, and I'm gonna go with my plan, because why not? I'm gonna fold it down. That's just the decision I made, and I'm sticking with it. And here we go. Ink the edge so that we know that that's a pocket there. I can now glue this together so it's shut. Or what I'm gonna do instead is just apply glue top and bottom. That can be a pocket, but this can also open up, because why not? Why not? Why not? I don't see why not. Let's apply that glue, top and bottom. So many ways to do this. And now when that dries, you know, that's a pocket, but this is also like a journaling area. I don't mind that at all. Same on this side. I could, down the track, add a little bit of lace on the edge of this washi tape like this, just to make it look pretty. You know, I can do this later on when I'm embellishing the journal. For now, I'm just going to focus on construction. And now I want to work on the outside of journal, mainly the spine. I want to cover the spine. And I'm going to do that with fabric. So I need to choose a fabric that's going to go with that cover. But what's going to be here? I need to know that before I choose the fabric. So I'm going to go into this folder where I have all these things for covers. And I hopefully am going to find something that's going to go well for this journal. This would, you know, why not? That would look good. That would look good. I like that. Oh, look at this. That would look good. I don't mind that at all. Even this. This is from a tissue box. I like that. So, which one? What about something like this? Vintage postcards. I actually quite like this image. 1992 little postcard. I really like that. So let's just go with that, shall we? I'm just testing out some ideas. What about if I do a piece of corrugated cardboard? Testing, testing, testing. Okay, we'll make it work. Let's make it work. Nice straight edges we need. Now we shall flatten this corrugated cardboard. Maybe get rid of some of these little bits. That'll do. And now I'm going to put a layer underneath. Okay, I have some pretty things. Not over the top. Looks like snow. How'll this look? No? What else do I have in my fancy little things over here? Oh, what's this? What about if I do something like this? A few layers. Should we just do it? All right, this is what I'm gonna do. Double-sided tape, just so I can glue it on top of this. And it kind of sucks that most of this beautiful mesh material is like hidden and you can only see little snippets of it, but It is what it is. We're not gonna hoard. No, no, no. Now this one is gonna get a little Shinking Piers haircut. Testing, testing. Okay, that's a bit better now, isn't it? Now I shall ink the edges. I was thinking of putting pretty corner. I might do that later. We'll see. Okay, now repeat the same thing with the double-sided tape. And pop it down. That looks all right. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is take this to my sewing machine. It's just the way I roll. We all do our favorite things, okay? If you don't have a sewing machine, you simply use glue. Okay, these two pieces are sewn together, and now I don't have to worry about them going anywhere. Now I'm gonna pop this down, and I'm going to sew around the image. I just need this to stay in place while I'm sewing. Okay, I'm gonna sew all around the image and hope for the best. How sweet. I am liking it. Look up close. Isn't he sweet? So now, finally, I can go back to my cover and decide on the fabric. All right, we just need strips of fabric. You can rip your own, or you can use something that's already ready-made. Let's test them out. We have this one, not bad. Bad. This one, also bad. Okay. We have this one, not bad. I don't mind it. What do you think? That one or this one? No. How about this one? So it will either be this one, which doesn't take away from the centerpiece of the journal. It's just simply there to cover the writing. Or I think I'm leaning towards this one. And you know what? I'm sure that I have a better fabric that's going to go much better than this. But shall I just stick with this? Yes, that's what I'm going to do. All right, cut myself a bigger piece than I need. And we're going to put stuff away straight away. And while you're putting stuff away, make sure that you're second guessing your decision and then pull some more stuff out. Or not, perhaps. Oh, well, you see, perhaps sometimes that is a good idea. Or even this, much better than that other. What do we want to do, ladies? That one or this one? That's a no. That's a big fat no. Or this one. Oh, what are we gonna do? I think this one is perfect, but will it be enough? It's kind of not straight, but you know what? We're just gonna make it work. We'll make it work. All right, first things first. We need a very, very straight bottom edge. Maybe we can do like Shinking Piers. No, we shan't. We shall do like a straight edge, and then we'll fray everything. I like it slightly larger than the cover. So now I am going to cut slightly larger than the cover. Or slightly taller than the spine, I should say. Okay, now we shall do the fun business of fraying to death. I like frayed edges, especially when the fabric is not cut completely straight. Like this piece seems wider at some points than others. So we're just gonna fray away and we're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna say, oh, what a fabulous day to fray away. And we're not gonna throw this out. Oh, no. Because we have a jar. We have a jar over here that's gonna go in there because we use everything. Okay, I am fratified. Fratified is another word for satisfied. Now, double check, triple check if necessary. And we're gonna start gradually hoping for the best at this point. I'm gonna use fabric glue. You can use whatever glue you have, PVA glue, whatever it is. And I'm gonna apply it onto the spine only. And then I'm going to make sure that I have a nice even layer of that glue. We do not want blobs of glue. Well, for this fabric, it's not going to matter because even if it does seep through, it won't be visible. But if you're using fabric that's nice and, I don't know, thin and light in color and it doesn't have pattern, if glue seeps through, it will be visible. So luckily I don't have to worry too much, but still I'm being, you know, I'm being careful with that sort of stuff over here. And I'm also going into the groove. And now here comes the moment, the appliage of the fabric. I'm just gonna check. I like that amount. Yeah, I'm happy. I am fabricified. Now we're going to go to the back, add a line of glue, and make sure you don't go extending. I'm just eyeballing kind of where to stop. Use your pretty little fingers and just get into the groove and glue down into the groove again, and just keep on going until you're gluified. If you have like things like too much glue and you've overextended, you simply just grab a piece of lace and cover the edge. No big deal. Okay, over here. A line of glue, and let's work that baby in. Groove and fold over the top. Isn't it sweet? I'm gonna need to trim that down a bit more and then do some more fraying, but I am quite happy indeed. I'm gonna plop something inside here just to keep it nice and kind of not slanted while I work out where I'm going to glue this. Okay, that was easy, that's worked out. And now I'm just gonna glue it down. Off I go. And glue down. I could have, but I didn't do it. Run a piece of string, like I could rip this up, for example, let's just say, okay, underneath the image, even under the spine, and have a closure. But if I do decide to have a closure, I can go about it other ways now that this is glued down and it's not going anywhere. At this point, I would like to leave this for a little bit to dry. I like to leave this open, make sure everything is in the groove, let it dry. It doesn't have to completely dry, but you know, for a little bit. And also for this, I'm gonna place something heavy on top. Here it comes. And I'm gonna leave that for about however long, you know. Sometimes it can be overnight, other times it can be 20 minutes. Today it's gonna be, we shall see. I'll be back. Hello, I'm back. Did you miss me? No? Fine then, be like that. Okay, here's my sweet little lady. And I do want to do something else on this cover. I'm thinking book corners. So let's see if I have something in here. Or maybe even, I don't know, something like this. No. Maybe like this. No. Okay, book corners. Let's see. Do I have something in here? I have this. Ooh. That's not too bad. Okay. I'm going to use my gold cardstock from Kmart, and this die that I have from where? Who knows? You know, I'm a second-hand kind of gal, and I'm gonna go and do the die cutting business now. Okay, that took way longer than it needed to. Let's see. I'm gonna say it's a yes from me. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna glue down. And these little pieces, they're supposed to come out, but I like to keep them in. This is very tedious business here. I need to get glue on the whole thing, but I don't want it seeping through. I mean, seeping out of the edges. Very tedious this, and not much fun, but we have one down and one to go. I'm gonna glue this on. Has to go down under, like this. Ooh, loveliness. Getting rid of any seepage of the gluage. Okay. And repeat. I'm feeling like there's a slight imbalance because I have these here and then nothing on this side. So I'm just gonna test this out. Punch some circles. Testing. Just something little. What do we think? Is it necessary? Maybe we can do something. It's supposed to be a sticky thing, but it's not sticking. What about something like this? That's a no. Should we do it? I'll do it. I am going to do it. Okay, I feel like it balances it out a little bit. Now we have a little something over here. Maybe I can do more. You know what? I'm happy. I am happy with how this is looking. So now I have officially harvested the book. We have book images, loaded pockets. We have bits and pieces that are gonna go into the journal, signature pages that are gonna go into the journal. I am going to think of something to do with this. Might be part of this project, might not. And I'm gonna have a writing board, indeed. I'm gonna have a writing board, and the book has been officially harvested at this point. So from here, the next stage is making this into a handmade journal. So far it's just the cover, and it's ready for pages to go inside. We have some pockets in there. We have some of this flip out business. It's gonna be fun. But unfortunately, I won't be able to do that today because you know how this goes. We have housework to do, unfortunately. We have families to take care of. We have appointments to keep. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop filming for today. But please let me know how you feel after watching this video. Do you feel inspired? Do you feel like you learned something new? I mean, I'm sure you've harvested books before, but I don't know, did you get some new information? And also, most importantly, please let me know if you want to see part 2, the continuation of actually transforming this beauty into an actual journal. So for this, we would need extra large pages. How do we do that? Well, if you watch my videos, you know how to do that. But is it something you want to see taken to completion? Please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.